Now, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is set to include over 8 new characters in this movie by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio that's going to be used in a way in order to really move the characters of Rey, Kylo Ren, and all the other legacy characters involved forward throughout this movie from start to finish in a very unique way by J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. So, what's really great about Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie, yes, is going to include a lot of cameos from the prequels, the originals, and other forms of Star Wars canon material, which to me I think is a healthy thing for the Star Wars franchise and a step in the right direction. Others out there may view this as a bad and or a negative thing, which is perfectly fine and okay and all, but in my point of view, I think that this is a good thing where Star Wars stands right now. You know, after The Last Jedi backlash and what it actually went through, and what the fans actually, felt about that movie and how it affected the solo Star Wars story box office results, this movie really is going to have a lot of nostalgia, but I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that the nostalgia is going to be used in a way where it's going to have a lot of meaning and purpose behind it all. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for this movie. Now, specifically, a description of Rey, Poe, and Finn on the First Order battlefield, where it's described to be a massive land battle similar to battles seen in Lord of the Rings, by how large the battle is. The next describes Rey separating from Poe and Finn, where it's said that she is using the Force to push a handful of red stormtroopers. It's described that in the distance a character codenamed EB, that is said to be in his mid-50s with long black hair, is wielding a green lightsaber deflecting blaster fire from jump troopers that are launching off of a cliff. The character is described to be Ezra Bridger in his older years, having a brief scene on the battlefield to protect some of Maz Kanata's pirates and crew. Rey is described to be staring at the EB character during this time, watching what she sees to be another Jedi just like herself. The next describes the EB character slicing down an antenna of the First Order headquarters that eventually falls on top of multiple First Order hover tanks, destroying a good amount of their reinforcements. So, what I find very impressive about all of this is that this is a moment in which Rey is actually seeing another Force-sensitive individual and or a Jedi just like herself, where now she sees, basically, these different, connections to the past Star Wars movies and past eras that actually are part of, everything related to the Star Wars franchise that J.J. Abrams is really trying to put together here. So we've been hearing about this character codenamed EB for the longest time, and this character is said to be the character of Ezra Bridger in his older years, in his mid-50s, for having a very brief sequence on the battlefield using a lightsaber in order to protect himself against some jump troopers that are launching off of a cliff, and eventually he cuts down one of the antennas that belong to the First Order, obliterating a good amount of their reinforcements of the hover tanks and the hover tank troopers. So what I find very impressive about this, guys, like I say, we do know that the First Order and this massive land battle is going to be like something straight out of the Lord of the Rings movies. And that to me, I don't know about you guys, it may be over the top if it's done incorrectly, but I feel like that this really is matching up with John Boyega and his statement over a year ago that Episode 9 really is going to be a war to end all wars, and an all-out war, if you will. So, thinking back to John's statement there, it really does line directly up with this massive land battle within the third act of Episode 9, where basically the Resistance, Maz Kanata's crew, and her pirates, they all need all the help that they can get around the entire galaxy, from all corners of the galaxy, in order to take down the First Order and Supreme Leader Ren. So in this particular sequence, it involves the character EB, Ezra Bridger obviously, using this green ignited lightsaber, taking down, jump troopers, protecting himself, and taking down that large antenna, which by the way serves as communication in order to bring in new reinforcements. Now, what I like about this is that this is a way of Disney and Lucasfilm of interconnecting Episode 9 to other Star Wars canon material. Now, I would love to hear your opinion on all of this. Is this a good idea to implement animated TV series characters, or is this a bad idea to do so? Of different allies. We're not just talking about the Resistance and Maz Kanata's pirates. We're talking about all different organizations around the entire galaxy even the Dark Prince and his world is going to get involved in this movie within the third act of episode 9, which is great because at the end of the day, you know, nobody wants to be ruled over by the First Order, and you can only imagine that they are trying to all band together in order to take down the First Order, where this is actually going to be a war to end all wars. Again, it's like a callback to World War, you know, 1. And if you look at episode 9, you know, J.J. Abrams really is trying to take inspiration from past wars that, you know, we ourselves went through throughout the generations. And I think that's a great way in order to make episode 9 feel a little bit more like authentic or real, if you will, and more relatable. And if you look at these characters, guys, like I say, the characters like EB and AT, obviously Ezra Bridger and Ahsoka Tano, they're not going to be major characters in a sense, but they are going to be supporting characters during this land battle sequence in episode 9. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.